other stops working. A lot of us, when we start up, we are it. In the beginning, we are the CEO, we're the marketer, we're the salesperson, we're the delivery guy. And as you grow, that being a one-man band becomes a restriction to your business's growth. So tonight, I want to challenge one of the myths of business and speak about why collaboration is one of the biggest growth levers for every entrepreneur. So sit tight and let us have a conversation as entrepreneurs. Why is this important? A lot of us have been taught differently, and there's a worldwide saying that says, if you want it done right, do it yourself. And the saying is, if you want it done right, do it yourself. And there is a lot of truth in that saying. And for me, the truth is in that if you have the idea and you mark your own homework, you know the criteria of what is right enough. And therefore, whatever you do seems to come across as right. But as your business grows, as the demand for your services and goods grow, doing everything yourself leaves you juggling too many things in the air, and you become the single most constraint in your business. So this is a way a lot of us were raised doing everything, and I'm here to challenge that today and say collaboration can be a superpower for you. It can help you grow. It can help you do more as you build your business for the long game. And just to share a personal story, when I started out in the events business, there's this notion of owning everything yourself, doing everything yourself. And one of the biggest breakthrough that I had personally in my business was collaborating with a friend of mine when I was working full-time for one of the big banks. And I was just like, hey, you've got time, you're studying. How about we collaborate and build this venture together? We sat down. I remember it was a late evening and we were drafting this contract. Now that I look at it, that I'm older, it had holes, but it did what it needed to do. We came together, we charted the vision, we charted the way of work. And that's one of the biggest levers that I experienced myself as an entrepreneur when I went into that collaboration. Another collaboration that has been strong to my growth is a collaboration and deep respect for my suppliers. So one of my biggest growth levers is the guys and companies and girls in the background who help me deliver my services. Because as I started working, as the company grew and more things were being demanded, I kind of realized that I can't do this myself. There are people who have been in this game for a long time and can do things way better than me. They've got better resources, they've got better experience, and can actually deliver better or mentor me better. So what am I highlighting? I'm highlighting that collaboration is a key growth lever that you can tap into to grow your business. As we chat tonight, please leave me a comment in the chat and let us discuss what are some of the hindrances that you experience when it comes to collaborating. And let me just share some good things or some things that you can learn or gain from collaboration, and also share some of the pitfalls why people don't want to collaborate. So one of the things that you gain when you collaborate with external people and stakeholders is that you tap into their knowledge, you tap into their experience. This means that things that would have taken you a certain amount of time, they take a bit shorter because you're tapping into a wealth of experience. Because they've done this before, they've interacted with this sort of clients, and they've got some knowledge in the game. So tapping into people's knowledge, tapping into people's experience can help you grow faster. Because when you collaborate, you gain their 3, 5, 10, sometimes 20, 50 years of experience. So look into who has the knowledge and experience that you can tap into. Another thing that you gain through collaboration is capacity. This has been one of the biggest things for me myself, is tapping into other people's capacity. When you collaborate, some people have the capacity of time where you've got ideas but you can't execute because of time, and then you leverage their capacity and time. Some people have a capacity and resources where they've got the resources such as equipment, such as cars, transportation, logistics, such as offices, such as networks where they know a guy. And those are some of the biggest things that you can get capacity wise when you team up with people who've got the capacity that you can leverage on as an entrepreneur. Another two things is access and speed. I've already spoken around the capacity of people and their networks. And sometimes the people you collaborate, they just make one phone call, they drop one WhatsApp, and you've got access to who you need access to, all the network that you need access to. And the last one is speed. When you tap into other people's experience, other people's capacity, other people's knowledge, you're also expediting your growth into what you need to do. And now let's chat around why people don't like collaborating. One of the first reasons is that collaborating is kind of hard is because of trust. There's a trust thing to be like, if I trust this person, will they keep their end of the bargain? Will they be dishonest or screw me over in any sort of way? So that's a big one that we need to deal with as entrepreneurs, and we really need to be careful around trust. And we've heard horror stories of how people trusted one person, they partnered together, and then they woke up and the business was gone. Everything that they built was gone. So one of the first things that we will chat around when we are choosing the people who collaborate is how do we get over the trust creation process so that we know that we are getting into collaboration with the right people. The second reason why people struggle to collaborate is this notion that I should be able to do myself, that I am self-made and I'm MacGyver. I also have that MacGyver spirit. I've got this. And this spirit of I've got this, there's also this internal subconscious thing where you feel like if I ask people for help or if I collaborate, it may mean that I don't have things together, that I'm not good enough, that I haven't proven myself. And this is a subconscious thing that we need to deal with as entrepreneurs, to be like, collaboration can be great for you. And when you bring in people with different skills, with different networks, with different capacity, it could be a growth lever for you. So let us work through the trust. Let us work through the fear of not being good enough. And the last one is just being scared of the unknown. And what if this, what if it works, what if it doesn't work, what if. So as we go through some of the items of what to look out for when you look for collaborators, let us address these and let's see how we can use collaboration as a growth lever for your business. Okay, so when we talk around collaboration, there are different parts of collaboration. There's collaboration when it comes to your business partners, people you can do a joint venture with, or people you can bring into the business, and they can help you with different aspects. And there's this model that I like, that when you think of business partners, a lot of us is just, hey, I've got a friend, I've got a cousin, I've got a sister, I've got somebody, hey, let's do this together. And you find that you're the person with the vision. You end up doing all the work. The other person is there, they're emotionally supporting you, but they're not pulling the weight. And then you start resenting the situation. So how do you go about picking somebody for your business? The first thing I would say is always, without fail, go with somebody who's got the same values as you and who's also got the same work ethic as you. When I talk about values, I talk about, what do you value? Do you value integrity? Do you value honesty? Do you value quality? Do you value delivering on time? All these are key values and belief systems that you must have aligned with whoever you collaborate with. Because there's nothing as unfortunate that, let's say, you value honesty and the person you've collaborated with, now there's a dishonest part in them. And that's where the trust factor is, to say, are your values aligned with the person you're collaborating with? And there are things that are non negotiable. Like for me, integrity and quality is non-negotiable. So when I start seeing things like, I like this person's work, but there's an element that I'm not too sure about, then I start being more cautious around any collaboration with that person. If I'm going to go full out, if I'm going to do it at all, or anything. But the first thing to look at, do we have the same belief system? Do we have the same level of values and integrity? Then the second one is work ethic. Work ethic is important because you find that usually what I've seen in my conversations with different entrepreneurs as we discuss businesses, you have the person with the idea who ends up doing all the work. And then there's the other person, as lovely as they are, they're not contributing as much. And then you feel like when we started this, it was a 50-50 split, but I'm doing the work. But why? Like, and then there's a resentment. So work ethic is important. So don't just collaborate with people you like or people you feel comfortable with. Check their track record, check their work ethic. And as I speak about track record, this is something that will also help with the trust issue. As you seek people to collaborate with, also just check their portfolio. Where some people are excellent when it comes to speaking, they're excellent when it comes to sales. But when you're about to collaborate with somebody or entrust them with something great, look at their track record. Hey, what have you done? Can I see a portfolio of your previous work? Who have you dealt with? Make phone calls. Hey, I am looking to do a project with TMB. What was your experience of us working with TMB? And some people will, people will always try put people in a good light, but in the truth comes out. People will be like, yeah, Otembi is a lovely lady, but they won't say, but she's a lovely lady. But if you're going to just collaborate with her, you may just need to be a bit better at managing time. So even though her work is lovely, but her time management is not so great. That is something that you're getting as you are doing due diligence. In the banking world, when we're doing deals, or any business world, when we're doing deals, there's due diligence. And a lot of us as budding entrepreneurs, we struggle with due diligence, where we go in with high hopes and don't do our background checks. So as you seek people to collaborate with, as you build trust, look at the evidence of what they have done, not just what they are talking about. And also seek counsel from the people who have actually worked with them, so that they can actually tell you that what was their experience and what can you expect from the engagement. As we continue this conversation, let me hear it on the chat to be like, what is your experience with collaborating, and what has worked for you and what has backfired for you? So so the second point I want to speak about is, when you look for people to collaborate with, also look for people who are different from you, people who can add a different dynamic. So when you are leveraging something from people, these people must have a different experience from you. They may have different resources, they may have different networks, they may have something different to offer you. So when you are the creative, maybe they'll balance you with the admin. When you are the salesperson and you wax lyricals with sales and you kind of struggle with delivery, they will be the ones who help you with delivering and being practical around the delivery. So sometimes as people, we are safe with the people we know, and I am a big supporter of collaborating with the people because you already got the trust thing sorted, you've already got the track record thing sorted. But what is the other person bringing on the table? So be clear on what the other people are bringing on the table. Is it resources? Is it capacity? Is it experience? Is it networks? They must bring more to the table than just vibes, because a lot of us, we partner for vibes and they come sting us near the end. And let me check the chats. Tandy, thank you for joining this evening. Let's hear it. What are your thoughts on collaborating with family members on business ventures? Do you believe in strength relationship, or do you think it can create challenges? I'm asking because I once turned down an opportunity to collaborate with a cousin, and I was very, very scared of ruining family relationships. It's a very good question. And I'll speak from my own experience and running a business. And I do hire family members. And for me, I've had a good experience and I've had a really terrible experience with family. And for me, it boils down to what I spoke about. One, do you guys have the same values? Do you guys value working hard? Do you guys have the same work ethic? If you guys value the same things and you have the same work ethic and vision, you may find that the relationship works really well. I remember one of the guys I employed in the beginning to do deliveries was a family member. He was as lovely as he was, like taking responsibility and time management used to whack him. I remember one time I had an event to just deliver TVs. The way he and the driver got so lost, I had to stop what I'm doing. No communication, no phone. Now I am stressed. Now I need to go to the venue, look at the clients in the eye and be like, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to get hold of them. I don't know. So where was the misalignment for me? The misalignment was in choosing a family member just because they didn't have a job. And I was just like, okay, yeah, when we must have been yeah, but I overlooked the flaws of responsibility, taking accountability, and the quality of wanting to do things right. So that is my bad experience. And then another good experience that I have had is that I do work with family currently in my business. And it is the weirdest and coolest thing is that when we're at work, we challenge each other. Then there's this is what I want. And when I need to go boss, I go boss. And then she challenged me work-wise. And when work is over, then we go home. And then it's just like when we have to have a conversation, we chat, and it's just work is over. So there's this separation of when we are at work and when we are at home. And earlier this year, I think I'll drop the link in the chat. We had a beautiful session with ECBN where we were talking around family business and how family businesses work. We had very great entrepreneurs, people who have built multi-million dollar, close to the billion-dollar businesses, and it's family businesses. People who know each other, they're part of a family. And for as much stress as we see out there, a lot of families make family business work because you know each other, you trust each other, you can evaluate your work ethic, you can evaluate your values. So Tandy, my last one there is use your wisdom there. So with the person who next, whether it's family, whether it's not family, do you guys have the same values? Do you guys have the same work ethic? And if those two stars align and they are bringing something different to the table besides just time capacity, because a lot of us, we really like collaborating with people just because they've got extra time, and then you're like, I'm working, but they're not working. So if we do this thing together, look at values, integrity, and also look at work ethic. So Tandy, I hope that answered your question. Please feel free to comment in the chat again if I need to cover another thing. So as I wrap up point 2, Please, please, please look for people who are different to you and who will bring something different to the table so that you guys can complement each other. If somebody is good at creativity, then there must be somebody practical who's be like, hey, I see all your ideas, but hey, how do we do this practically? And I do find it's with my team where I've got visions, I've got like, this is what I want. And then people are like, okay, how do we do it practically? Who needs to do what? How do we pull this thing together practically? So when you collaborate, look for somebody who will complement your skills. And the next point is when you collaborate, it's important to set out the rules from the beginning. I say rules, but in my opening example, when I collaborated with a friend of mine who helped me build my businesses to what it is today, the events business. When we started, we set and we decided who will own what. So when you collaborate with anybody, be sure to clarify ownership. When somebody's coming into the business, do you own the business? Do you give each other shares? Is there a profit share? How is the ownership? Because a lot of people just start working together, and then when money starts coming in, it's and then things just start changing, and then you have people suing each other because clarify ownership. What does it mean when you're collaborating with somebody? Who owns what? Then, secondly, clarify roles and responsibilities. As I've said, a lot of us collaborate with people for vibes, and you find yourself doing a lot of things. What is the other person responsible for? Are you responsible for sales? Is the other person responsible for delivery? Are you responsible for business development, going out there, finding the customers? The other person is responsible for finances. How do you guys come up with capital? Where does the money to do the jobs or to do the advertising come from? So these are the roles and responsibilities that you guys need to have up front so that it's a known thing. I know that if I'm coming into this relationship, this is our arrangement. Utandi owns 100% of the business, and then I just come in and we do profit sharing on the jobs. When there are no work, life continues. But another arrangement is it's 50-50. We take 50% of the struggles and we take 50% of the profits. And another question is, what is profit? Sometimes you have a job and you feel excited. It's a big number. But then the question is, when do we start chowing the money? Because if you know, the business will always chow the money before you. So these are all the nuanced things that you need to agree on in principle. And it's not just like a big law thing. Now you're getting all these terms and conditions. It's a matter of principle so that you and your collaborators have guiding principles of how roles and responsibilities and how you handle resources. Another thing that you need to agree from the start, and this is the big one I push, is please agree on how you guys will part ways. How will you part ways? Will it be if I decide to leave the business, do I just leave with my ransack and I'm out and business continues? Or I leave, I've got my shares when there's dividends? And a lot of small businesses, guys, we don't have any dividends. So I saying actually, but how do you leave? I remember part of my beginning clause, it was so cool that we had this insight when we were even still young. We had this clause and we had this calculation. And when my friend at the time decided that, hey, I'm going for greener pastures and I am very excited, I still am excited of his career growth. But when the time came, he was just like, hey, Tembi, we've started this, we've built this, now it's time for me to leave. We looked at the contract and we're like, this is what we agreed on. And we just like, now that we agreed on, it doesn't make sense, but this is the split it makes sense for. So what am I highlighting? I'm highlighting that when you're building with people, please have an exit clause. Exit when things are happy. This is how we do when anybody voluntary says that I want to exit in the event of death. A lot of us don't think of that. I learned that also. It was last year at Startup Day. It's like, hey, a lot of people struggle when it comes to one of the founders dying. Now there's no IP or there's something lost in the collaboration. And then most difficult is how do we split or split when there is contention and conflict. So let me finish the split and then I'll also come back to conflict management. It's the how do we split when things are not going well? The best time to decide all these things is when everybody's happy and when everybody is still optimistic of the venture, to be like, okay, if you decide that Osafuni go this way, or if you do something wrong, then you lose everything. Or this is how we will do it when we don't see eye to eye. When we don't see eye to eye, we agree that we'll bring in a mediator. We agree that, okay, even if we don't see eye to eye, you will have the final decision and you'll override anything I say. When you decide these things from the beginning, you're deciding them when everybody's happy, when everybody is level-headed. And for me, that is the best time to decide those things. And then let me come back to conflict management. It's also advisable to have some sort of framework to be like, okay, if we don't see eye to eye, this is how I think we should deal with it. The other person gives it, and discuss these things before conflict ensues. Because when conflict has ensued, everybody's hot-tempered, everybody thinks the other person is wrong, everybody doesn't want to hear anything. So when you are going into collaboration, I do very much encourage that you choose the people you collaborate with wisely. You look at the integrity, you look at the work ethic, and you set out roles and responsibilities from the beginning. You deal with how we will tackle conflicts should we be in this business relationship together. And then lastly, what is the exit? How do I exit when I am happy? How do I exit when I'm frustrated? And how do we deal with exit should one of us unfortunately pass on? So looking forward to the comments. Tandy, thanks Cindy, much appreciated. Please don't forget to drop the article with family business after the session. Definitely will do, and thank you for engaging. Okay. So fam, I want to leave you with a challenge. I want these sessions to be transformational. I want you to do the stuff. Sometimes it's always great to hear the stuff and you're like, I've learned. But now the challenge for you is, who will you collaborate with? Collaboration, I know that I speak a lot about business partners, about suppliers. There is way more to collaboration than that. Firstly, there's collaboration with employees. Doesn't have to be full-time. Sometimes it's people who will help you when you've got a delivery. Who can you collaborate with on your deliveries, whether it's a business, whether it's an individual? There are people who you can tap into their skill. Another thing is, a lot of us, guys, we struggle with our bookkeeping, we struggle with our admin. Maybe there's a virtual assistant, there's an accountant, there's somebody you can partner with to help you with your bookkeeping, with your admin. There's something there. There are people who do sales and are good at it. If you know somebody, is that a collaboration relationship that you can tap into? Another one for me is logistics. We are programmed to believe that we need to own everything. And I like owning, I'm always buying, but who can you collaborate with? Is there somebody who's got a set of equipment that you sometimes need for your delivery that you can partner with? If you are a printer or you're printing something, you can be like, hey, my machines are full. When my machines are full, can I bring some work to you? What is our work and pricing agreement? That's a collaboration right there on delivery and resources. So my challenge to you today is, look around, look at your business, look at what you're trying to achieve, and can you find people that you can collaborate with? And as I am pushing collaboration, let me just be frank and honest. Sometimes you'll hit and sometimes you'll miss. It's a part of life. Somebody says that you will have to kiss a few frogs before you get to the Prince Charming. And sometimes you'll have to kiss a few frogs before you get the right person to collaborate with. And that is painful, but it's a part of life. I almost said perfectly okay. It's not okay, but it's just life. Sometimes you work with certain people. I've burned, the stories are endless of how I've burned. But you try a collaboration with somebody, you look at what works, you look at what hasn't worked, and I want you to own the outcome, own the success, own the failure. And some of the lessons I've learned in terms of collaboration was, okay, I collaborated with that person, but I didn't do as much due diligence, so that's on me. So I could next time I collaborate with somebody, I must do a background check. I've learned that the hard way. Another thing, when I've collaborated and I didn't have any monitoring in place, I can say, yeah, the other person is wrong or the other person unje, but as a business person, how do I grow? So the next thing I now know is that, okay, I need to have a monitoring system to say I can't just blindly trust people with that they're doing the right thing. I can't just blindly trust. So there must be a monitoring system in terms of the delivery, a monitoring system in terms of the output. Are the people bringing in what they said they'd bring in? A monitoring system around the money, because a lot of people struggle and fight around the money. So what I'm saying is, collaboration will propel you, collaboration will grow you. But as you collaborate, you need to be careful and also be prepared that you will win and sometimes you will lose. But when you lose, gain the lesson and also have risk mitigation measures that you can mitigate your losses. So blindly trusting is not great, especially when you don't have a trust relationship with somebody. So as we land this one today, I want to just say that one superpower, one leverage that you can have as an entrepreneur is learning to collaborate. Collaborate differently. Collaborate in joint ventures. Collaborate in resource sharing, where you can be like, hey, you've got a different business. I've got an office. You need an office. And I'm already paying the rent, or I already own this business. Hey, how about we collaborate and you come work here and you pay me rent? Oh, I've got a car that I don't use at night. Maybe you've got something that you need to deliver at night and we collaborate. There's different ways of collaborating, and collaboration could help be the superpower of growing your business. As I land today, I'm looking at the chats. Is there anyone who also just wants to lend their view on this item of collaboration? Just checking TikTok as well. Yeah. Cool, guys. I can see you guys have joined. Thank you very much for joining. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is The Long Game. It's always a pleasure for me to come through and chat to you around business, leadership, technology. Please DM me, message me if there's any topic you'd like me to cover. It's always a pleasure. And also announcing, fam, that my book is coming out this spring, where I talk about being an employed entrepreneur, how you can build a business whilst you have a full-time job. I am looking forward to it, excited. Thank you very much for all the support, for all the DMs. I'll also just be putting a link to the site for the book so that you guys can be amongst the first to pre-order. So if this content is a blessing to you, please like, subscribe, and also share the link to anybody else who may benefit from this. This content is around building businesses that last beyond us and the long game. So thank you very much for joining, and looking forward to meeting you again next week. Peace.